Alright, cool. Welcome everyone to the Mega Music Stream. We have we have a lot to cover. I am both excited and a little weary of what we're about to cover. So I think we'll give it a couple more minutes while I quickly send out the Gone Live tweet. And then from there we will go ahead and jump head first into all the chaos that we're about to go through. Imagine making music vibe though. Oh, thank you, Nom. Thank you. Hang on, I am having some issues with Streamlabs. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Looks fine. I'd listen? Cool. Well, for our opener, we have a new album that's released. Oh, that's not working. Oh, wait, I just realized that's not working. Okay, well, that's fine. Let's go and let's pause it there. So, first thing that we're going to go ahead and... Sadly, it's sleeping time, but I want to drop by and say hi. Well, thank you so much, Nom, for stopping by and saying hello. Really does mean a lot. And I hope that you're doing well. Where is it? Don't tell me I lost the album already. It's fine. It is fine. We'll just pull it up this way. Love you. Enjoy music creation. Love you too, Nom. Have a good night. Anyway, so first thing I want to go over is our newest album release. Inside My World is now out on all streaming platforms, which is probably the biggest news I have so far. It's really awesome in terms of how a soundtrack, that I've done. I think this probably has one of the biggest, like, interwoven stories that I've done so far for, like, a soundtrack. I think it's absolutely incredible, the story that it tells. So, let's quickly break it down, since we've done, like, 90% of the soundtrack on stream. But to those who have not had a chance to stop by and see music stream, let's quickly break down what all this is and what Inside My World is about. So, Inside My World is based off a game concept of going through the mind of a child. So what I did was I created a soundtrack, and each track is you could call it a level. And so World of My Design is the title screen track, and the one that we're listening to right now, Imagination is What You Make of It, is we can call it the tutorial level, if you will. One of the reasons why I like this track so much is that it sets up all these yeah, let's turn on the light very quickly because it looks a little dark in here. Okay, maybe not that bright. Okay. But one of the reasons why I love this track so much is that it sets up themes and motifs that are present throughout the rest of the soundtrack. And it's so beautiful. The soundtrack itself, as you can see, is 6 minutes, or 6 songs, 16 minutes and 52 seconds long. Not the longest soundtrack that I made, but definitely one of the most meaningful ones. And I absolutely love every little bit of detail that went into this. Let me quickly pull up my list here. Oops, that's not supposed to be there. That's going to expose stuff before we're ready to show. Okay. So we have this beautiful chorus of instruments. Each of them play their own role when it comes to developing the sound of the soundtrack. But most importantly, each track has its own meaning. So obviously, imagination is what you make of it is the foundation. Considering that we're inside a child's mind, everything is built off of imagination. So that's the baseline. My favorite track is an adventurous track that builds off of the chorus ideas from Imagination is What You Make of It and takes it to the next level. It's like a child envisioning themselves just going through this adventure, going through like these trials and like these little journeys inside their head. Fear in Yourself, which I won't cover today because it's not necessarily my favorite. I sort of created it in less than 15 minutes. Fear in Yourself is taking the concepts of fear and being scared inside a child's mind and taking it and bringing it sort of forward to light. It's not anything particularly special. It uses the same motifs as Imagination and Adventure. And Growth is Normal is, I think, the last track that I wrote in the soundtrack. This one came after the submission date. We did a stream like about a week or two ago building it. And what we ended up doing was I'm trying to remember. We made it to be a little different. This one, Growth is Normal, deals more with nostalgia and the idea of growing up in the mind of a child. And especially keeping that core idea with you no matter how old you grow. So sort of like the only song that I would put that would stay with you through a lifetime, if that makes sense. Everything else sort of changes and would fade away. Like the childlike wonder of Adventure Can Be Found Anywhere, for example, that would probably float away with age. Imagination is What You Make of It would also float away with time. Fear in Yourself probably would change, and then as you grow up, it would become more subsided. But Growth is Normal, I want it to be a song that could represent, like, timelessness. It's not connected to the imagination or the overall motif, so I made it a little different. And the last song, Until We Meet Again, is the closer track of the soundtrack. Much like how we have an opening title track, this is pretty much the inverse in every way possible. It starts off with these chords, and eventually what it does is it closes out the album the same way we open it, but backwards. And it's great. I really like the idea of it, and I really love how it fits into the whole idea of the soundtrack. Yes, we're gonna skip over Fear in Yourself. It's not necessarily my favorite track, and I think it's a pretty standard horror, like unsettling horror track. But this song, Growth is Normal, is, as I said, very different from the rest. It's very nostalgic. It's very flow-free, because I wanted a track that pushed against the norm in a way that was going to stand the test of time. You use the same instrumentation, so it reminds you that you are a part of the same soundtrack, but it's just a whole different feel. Even the melody is just so different. I think it's a great, it's a very unique idea that I don't think I've done in a track of mine before. Usually when I do these music composition competitions, these music composing game jams, I always make sure that I have like a theme in mind that can sort of radiate through the track. But with this one in particular, I made sure that the theme was not there and that it had its own unique identity. Using, of course, the same building tools that I used to make the rest of it. So it still fit, like sonically speaking. But man, does this really do a good job. It is beautiful. I think this is probably one of my favorite, one of my favorite mood setting pieces. I have a bunch of pieces that I consider world building, uh, ambient, and then like mood setting. And I think right now, I think probably Worlds Beyond Our Own, Magic of the Forest specifically, is my favorite world building and atmospheric track. This one is my favorite mood setting track. It's just so beautiful. Just listen to that. The ending is beautiful. It's great. And to end off the album, we have Until We Meet Again. In my eyes, this whole soundtrack takes place in a void, in a barren wasteland. And when you hear that beginning synth of World of My Design, it's like arriving in this wasteland. And then once you hit the melodic part, it's like creating a world in front of you with the power of your imagination. And this track reflects it perfectly, as if our adventure is done here and it's time for us to leave. It's time for us to head back out. And as we leave, the world falls away, as if our imagination keeps it alive. I still think there's some stuff I could have done differently, but considering this is all on a major time frame, I think this was absolutely fantastic. It mimics almost the same way that it was created and the way it flows from Adventure Can Be Found Anywhere, but with a new sort of lens on it. It's a little slower pace. It's supposed to sound very grand, very majestic. And here we go. We leave. And we turn that around the way we started. And it's as if this world of our imagination just falls away, fades out. I love the way this album is structured. I think this is probably one of my greatest storytelling pieces of all time. And the fact that it just sort of sprung up out of nowhere. I had no intentions to write this this year, but then we had an OST jam, and everything just clicked in place. I wrote most of the stuff in one night, if you remember, if you guys were here for the live stream. It was so fantastic. And I'm honestly super excited to do something like that again. So, once again, Inside My World is available on all streaming platforms. And I am super excited to continue on the journey of writing music, especially with these types of standalone soundtracks that tell you the story by themselves. So, unfortunately, we can't just sit here and talk about Inside My World all day. We have some other stuff that we need to get to. And I think probably the first thing I want to talk about is the new artist profile that should be available on all streaming platforms. So, here's how stuff is going to work moving forward. I now have 2 artist profiles. One is Noah Arona. That is where you will find all my soundtracks, all my instrumentals, and all my other projects of the same nature. Now, on this platform, Noah C. Arona, we are going to be putting all the lyrical music there. Any vocal type of music is going to be on this artist profile. And as you guys know, we've been working all year on a new Broken Mirrors, or as I like to call it, the sequel to Broken Mirrors 2. This is something that's really important to me. And so the reason why I did this is because when it comes to pushing my music algorithmically and getting my account noticed, it is extremely hard to do that when Spotify doesn't know what you do. When Spotify sees, oh, you have Broken Mirrors, which is lyrical music, like a pop type of sound, and then you also have like all your soundtracks here, it's like, what's the deal here? Like, what do you do? So instead of doing something, it does nothing. So I decided that I would separate out my lyrical music from my soundtracks and instrumentals. The thing, I think it's going to be a little rough getting the transition done for all the music. One of the reasons being is because I tried it with, as you can see here, writing to write. And for some odd reason, it still says it's under my original account. So eventually, we will get Broken Mirrors here. But I said first that I wanted to get Broken Mirrors acoustic on this account first, and then I will switch the studio edition of Broken Mirrors. So we have plans for the acoustic album now, and that's sort of why I've been kicking myself into work mode for that. But ultimately, that's just something that we need to work on overall. So yeah, that's a lot of the big news that's been happening behind the scenes recently. Album release, new Spotify page. I got to figure out how I'm going to push those and how I'm going to make them better. The main difference here is profile picture. So obviously I use more of like the photo shoot from without you, and eventually I'll turn the main account here into more of the same. Ooh, wait, I've never seen this section before. You guys listen to these people? Oh, that's great. What is that? Wait, discovered on Mothership surface tension. What is here? The escape. Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm intrigued. You also have C418 here. That's awesome. Okay. All right, that's enough of Spotify. Here, we'll go ahead and we'll move that back down here off screen. But man. Okay. I wanted to spend a little bit more time talking about the Inside My World soundtrack because I'm super proud of it. But I think we're running into a little bit of issues here, especially when it comes to Contact. So for those of you that aren't aware, the reason why we haven't been doing streams recently is because my computer has been chugging a little too hard. So I decided that as part of like a way to clear up my computer, like storage wise, as well as working on getting its hardware limitations fixed, I would do a dual streaming setup, and with that, I would also hard wipe my drives, my internal drives. My external drive is where I keep all my projects and all my games. So thankfully, I lost none of that. But it has been a pain in my ass to get these plugins back and working. I lost Spitfire Audio Labs, and anything that I use with Spitfire Audio Labs is now broken to the point where I cannot work more than 2 minutes without the software crashing. So, we are running into a bit of an issue with that, and I don't think I'll be using Audio Labs anymore, which is really sad. It had some interesting stuff, but I don't know what on earth they did to that. It's just unusable for me with Pro Tools. So we're not gonna worry about that. Also, yeah, as you can see, Contact takes forever to load now, which is a newer thing, but can't really be mad about it if it works, I guess. So, once this loads, we're actually gonna switch project files. Unfortunately, so this is kind of pointless. And I want to talk about probably the greatest song that I have. Hang on, let me close this down since I don't need CurseForge right now, and I was working on the Pizzaplex before I started stream. But what I want to do is I want to talk about Adventure Can Be Found Anywhere, since that is probably the greatest track that I've written this year. We'll play here. Oh, and of course, as I do that, it decides to load. We're going to save the session as, actually. Alright. Let's go ahead and close that. We're going to open up Adventure Can Be Found Anywhere. Is it here? I don't know if it's here. Nope, doesn't look like it. Unfortunate. Time to look for the project file, which is all the way up here. Perfect. There it is. Yeah, let's go ahead and save it. Also, you might have noticed, well, maybe not. It might not be obvious at first, but I did have to backlog a version. Yeah, there we go. So most of my documents will say, oh, it was open in 2024.6. I think I'm currently in like 2023.12, just because there were some issues I was running into with 24.6. So I just said, okay, we're going back. And one of the things that I decided to randomly do is update my timelines up here, which is not what I want. Save project file. Yeah. Save. Okay. So, this is Adventure Can Be Found Anywhere. This is one of my favorite tracks that I've written for in the year so far. That, along with Message from Deep Space, which we wrote at the beginning, and Finding Yourself, I think probably are the top three. This one's awesome. First off, doesn't use a major or minor key. It uses a Lydian key, specifically B Lydian. So everything is flat, I think, except for the B, right? That's the wrong. Hang on. Everything is sharp except for the B. So that was a real interesting challenge. But here's how it came out. And we started off writing with this little arpeggiation right here. That's how we started on our first stream, and then when we went back for our 9-hour stream, we wrote the rest pretty much that night. I wrote a little bit of it beforehand and then decided to stream, but overall, this is the finished product and one that I'm the most happy with. Let's give it a listen. It's so good. It is so good. I love this track so much. Yo, Tabby, thank you so much for the raid. I am so sorry. My alerts are not working right now. That's one of the things I forgot to put on. Hang on. Let's see if we can quickly get those up. Here, actually, let's start the track again while I do this. Red Jam, yeah, Red Jam. Alert box. Let's see what's gonna happen here. Okay, I think that's working now. Let's try that again. Oh, we got the... That's awesome. We got the new custom-made emotes going. Oh, wait, hang on. Those didn't go through, did they? Great. I don't know if those went through or not. The sound. They might have. It looks like they did. Maybe. I don't know the Ratchet emo, but I'm doing it in spirit. Thank you, thank you. Anyway, yeah, welcome. We're currently doing a mega music stream, as I like to call it, because haven't streamed in a while. Going to TwitchCon on Friday, so I thought let's go ahead and get some music going. So right now we're going over the new released album called Inside My World. Let's quickly get it pulled up. Hang on. Whoop. Here it is. New album. Out everywhere. It's awesome. Also, welcome everyone from Tabby's chat. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Noah Rona. I am a music composer, sound effects artist for video games, TV, and film. It's awesome. I love what I do. And on the side, I like to sing as well. So let's go ahead and let's break down this song very quickly. So obviously we have our main melody, or our main arpeggiation right here. It's great. Absolutely great. Next we have our actual melody here, which is one of the greatest melodies I think I've ever written for a track. This one we wrote... Oh, I dig that? Yeah, it's awesome! This one we wrote on our 9-hour live stream for the competition. It's really great. Combining it with everything, it sounds awesome. Everything's written in a really cool key for adventuring. And then to sort of keep things moving and to keep things pacing forward, we amped up the melody a bit. So it's a little different than the first version. It has almost like this call and answer. Man, this is a banger. So the song for a competition or something? It was. It was for a music composing game jam. And I think overall we got top 100 out of 700. I forget this. I forget the exact stats. Let me see if I can pull them up. OC Jam 7. So this is the game jam we were composing for. The reason why I decided to go above and beyond for creating the soundtrack was because we had a list of judges that were incredible and notorious for the work that they made. So we had the composer for Starbound and Halo Infinite, the composer of Stray, the other composer for Halo Infinite and Eastward, Short Hike, like all these really cool people with really awesome soundtracks. 700, that's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. Let me go back to the results. Let me see. Where is mine? I forget. Here, my submission ranked 13th in terms of correlation to theme and overall 109th out of 650 entries. It's not that visible, but I think it's in the corner. I love the Moonlighter OST. Genuinely my favorite game. It's awesome. Like, these guys have such, like, bangers out there. And I put so much effort to make sure that, like, my music could get heard. Unfortunately, I don't think any of them had a whole lot to say on my soundtrack. But it was super cool the fact that that I was able to compete in this, and I was able to get, like, at least just barely under top 100. But overall, it was, like, an awesome experience. And I'm so happy that I did it. And that's where I think this track was a really awesome track to submit to them. And I just love this call and repeat melody. And it's set up perfectly for this next instrument. Hearing everything in context is just awesome. So I'll be lurking because I have some friends over for a bit. Have a cool time. Can't wait to hear about TwitchCon. Thank you so much. I will be sharing about TwitchCon and vlogging my experience there. It's awesome. I love that last bit where you can hear both instruments like sort of playing off each other. It's so cool. I mean, one's playing the modified melody, the other is playing the basic one. It's awesome. I just love everything came together so nicely. I don't even remember how. Like, if honestly looking back at it, it feels like a fever dream. The fact that we were able to do this and we were able to create it. And the percussion's really nice on top of it. We have a few one hits, but this is the main percussion loop. I was looking for that sort of like more other like third world sounding percussion, especially with like hand hits on like a certain drum. I think this one's called like the Afro drum kit, Afro shop kit. It's a nice sounding drum kit, and one that I used in the track Through the River, I think. Was it? Yeah, Through the River. It's I think also there was one other track from The Sound of Games Volume 2. I think it was one of the first ones, like another adventure track. This is like my go-to for an adventure track. It sounds very like I don't know, it just sounds adventurous. I don't really know how to describe it. But yeah, overall, one of my favorite tracks. I think it just came together so well. Alright, so that is going to be all that we talk about for Inside My World. I would love to talk about more, but we have some other stuff that we need to get to. And the first thing I want to show off is the track that we started the year off with. The one, the only Message from Deep Space. Let's go ahead and let's find that very quickly and let it load up. I forget where it is. There it is. We have a bunch of tracks in here that have not been fully shown off. So we're going to be spending a little bit more time on those, and we're going to be sort of glossing over and just basic summarizing of other tracks like this one, because we've done a decent amount of breakdown, decent amount of streams talking about this track. It's done. I haven't touched it since I want to say maybe late May. So it's been about maybe 4 months that we've had this track on the shelf ready to go. The reason why it hasn't gone out yet is because I want to put it as part of an album. Another big soundtrack like Worlds Beyond Our Own and like what is it, Inside My World. Except this will be on a larger scale. I'm not even gonna bother with the timelines. I will go back and I will fix that eventually. So this is a new album called that I'm tentatively calling Worlds Beyond Our Own 2. I do that a lot where I just call stuff like 2 so I remember what the album is supposed to be like or what it's based off of. So this one in particular is a space adventure. If I remember correctly, the basic synopsis is a distress call is received from Earth from an ancient race that with instructions on how to find them. So we build a rocket ship and we start going out into space. We have some issues and we run into some issues and some tension, but eventually we land where those coordinates go. And I think where I've decided to put this in the story is you run into these like old rundown places where these aliens were definitely have left their legacy. It's almost like finding hieroglyphics in the cave. So this is the song that is going to be played when you are traversing the planet to find these hieroglyphics. This one's called Message from Deep Space. The name is going to get changed, but that's the first thing that was created with the project. One of the coolest effects I've done so far on the track. Not using that anymore. We can't. It's going to break the project file. It's so... I've run this project by so many people, and I'll talk about it afterwards, because I think this is a really interesting piece. And one that I think personally rivals Magic of the Forest in a few ways. Such a fantastic track. And this is by far the longest track that I've ever written, coming in at around 5:33, I think, somewhere around there. Magic of the Forest sits somewhere around like 5:24, and I wanted to create. I was just sort of like, okay, I want to create a track that's like longer than that's longer than Magic of the Forest, and that's how Message from Deep Space sort of started. But the more I created, the more I realized there's a story here. There's definitely a story here. And I don't know what it is about this climax. It is by far my favorite piece that I've ever written. Like, just listening to how it flows into the climax all the way to the finale. There's so much happening. There's so much sonically that it just captivates you. And I would love to see this piece played live. It'd be a dream of mine to see this and Magic of the Forest played live by an orchestra. I think it could definitely happen. I think one thing that really brings it all together is the strings and the bass. Like, just listening to those two combined, it carries so much of the orchestral weight that it can, like, stand on its own, and it's really cool. I'm gonna go ahead and snooze those ads for the second time today, so we only got one more snooze. We're still going through the motion, still rolling. And then there's just this moment that just catches you right here. Two instruments carry the full weight of this one moment. And then it brings you back down. Back towards the beginning, where we started. It's fantastic. I love the way that this track just flows. It just constantly... It's like a wave almost. It puts you through something, brings you back, raises you up, puts you down. It's like a whole roller coaster. It's awesome. And the vocals are also really nice. I'm getting better at doing chorus vocals and other stuff like that. I also like these inverted chords. I think they sound really nice and are like a breather from the regular chords that we hear. But if there's anything that I love in this track, it has to be this section right here. Everything within these measures is my favorite. These 48 measures? 48 measures, something like that. Is probably one, like, the best 48 measures I've ever written. There's so much happening here. There's a lot that's sonically going around. It sounds like a lot. Here, ads are on. Run an ad break to disable. Okay, yeah. Thank you for that. It's a lot that's happening, but it's so cool. And I think the second favorite part of the song is this piano warp right here, which I showed a little bit of in terms of the EQ, but it's awesome. I just took a piano and started moving around the EQ. Sort of messing with the envelope. It's so cool. But I've been showing this track off to several other composers and people who work on music, and I always ask them one thing, and it's, is this track too long? Like, does everything in this track fit well? And they all seem to say yes. They all seem to say that this track flows really well, and it makes me feel really good about the design of this track in particular, because I know we go through a lot of sections, and each of them has this going behind them. So I was concerned that it would be a lot. But what people have been giving me feedback on is just that, yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, we'll go ahead and replace it. People say that, like, it's really well paced and nothing sounds like it overstays its welcome. And everything builds up really nicely to the climax here. Which I'm really proud of. I'm really happy with that. So I think without further ado, we're going to let the ads play. And we're going to go ahead and run. We're going to load up another track while the ads are going. Let's go ahead and let's look for This Won't Be a Bumpy Ride. What's it called? I forget what the actual track is called. I totally forget what the track is called. I'm going to go ahead and sort by modified and see if I can find it here. Finding Yourself, Venture the Forest, Trail of Information. Edge of Exploration. That's what it's called. Maybe. Let's see. Is this the track that I want? Yes, I'm aware the contact is doing its thing. Yeah, this is definitely it. Yep, I'm aware it was opened in a... What? Aww. What was I using Portal on? Oh, that's right. That was an idea that I had. So, let's quickly check every contact instance and let's see if stuff is working right. Okay, nope. Are you going to give me the right one? Please tell me you're going to give me the right one. Is that a yes? No? Really? Okay, I guess that's working. Next one I want to check out was you. Okay, I think you're the one that's not working right now. Because you're Audio Majestica. I'm confused. Are you working or not working? No, wait. Yeah, let's get you loaded up. Let's refresh. Roll it back. Come on. That's not what I want. I'm looking for sustains. Okay, is that the only contact instance that I need to load up? I think so. Alright. So, this is another track in the Worlds Beyond Our Own 2 not yet named album. This one is called This Won't Be a Smooth Ride. This is a track that I'm tentatively, well, most likely placing in a part of the story where when flying through outer space we reach a very tense section. What it happens is we enter an asteroid field and it's not easy to navigate. So I thought, okay, let's start off with the sound of space exploration, like reaching the cosmos, and then lead into the fact that it's not going to be it's not going to be a spacewalk. It's not going to be a walk on the beach. So let's listen to This Won't Be a Smooth Ride. It's probably going to get a new name eventually. I hate that name. It's so tense. I love it. Awesome. Just awesome. It's definitely a very tense track, and I really like it. And like I don't know. I created it with sort of like a vague idea in mind for what I wanted to happen in the scene, but I think ultimately the music is telling the story more than the writers telling the story. It's awesome. I really like how well this track came out, and I think one of the reasons why is because of this chord progression right here. So we can go to the diminished chord right there. And that diminished chord really adds to it. It's great. And I think it's really, really interesting how we start off with this, like, soft piano. I was like, oh yeah, this would be an awesome start to, like, a really tense track. One where it shows exploration and one where it completely, like, deceives you. So I think one thing that I really had, like, in mind was we're going to take this intro piano music and we're going to warp it because we're going to have another section going into space. This time, though, it's going to be a spacewalk instead of it being a tense moment like this. And one thing I was experimenting with was Portal here. It's a new granular effect, but for some reason I seem to have lost it. So, do we? I might not have re-downloaded it. So that's something that I'm gonna have to do over the weekend, or over the week, I should say, because I got stuff I need to work on over the week, and Portal's kind of needed for it. But yeah, when are ads starting? Ads starting in a minute 30. Okay, yeah. I'm out of snoozes, guys. So unfortunately I can't snooze anymore. But we're gonna try and slow down talking about stuff while we're in ads. But yeah, so moving to this section, I really like how this instrument just begins adding a bunch of like noise to an already tense set of chords. So it just creates this really like thick layer of just noise. It's like hitting a really long PVC pipe and listening to the echo and the reverberance. I'm not even sure what this is. Oh, they're strings. Never mind. It's really cool, and I don't want to save that. Of course, we got Waiting for the Horizon back, which is the main instrument that we're going to be using throughout this whole soundtrack. It's going to be really nice and weaved into everything, for the most part. I just love the way it sounds, especially with the way this Irish harp has been absolutely modulated to the moon and back. It's being run through a talk box and a sci-fi sci-fi and a talk box. So these two are a defining trait to our what's it called? Our soundtrack here. These two plugins on the Irish harp. If we turn it off, actually, it'll sound a bit different. Throw on the sci-fi. And throw on the talk box. It sounds very synthy. I'm also trying to see if the ads are running now. I'm not entirely sure. I can't tell. But anyway, yeah. Oh, there we go. Ad break ends in 26 seconds. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, we won't discuss a whole lot. Alright, welcome back, everyone. Should be back from the ads. We didn't discuss a whole lot, but I think one thing that I'm going to quickly just touch on again is these two right here. And how these are pretty defining in the sound of the soundtrack. Because obviously we have a harp, but we don't want a harp. We want a Cynthia harp. So we throw it into a sci-fi plugin, followed by a talk box. The talk box controls the vowels that are made. Anyway, this one's currently at an ah sound. So yeah, just something that really defines the soundtrack, along with the Waiting for the Horizon right here. These two are going to be the main identifiers in everything. Maybe even this one down here. I have to figure out what I want to do with that. That one might not be able to blend in as easily as others. But I think that's where we're going to go ahead and end off Edge of Exploration. We have one more track that's done in the soundtrack here. Let me go ahead and find it. Since I don't think I have touched it in a hot second. It's not clouds. Where is it? It's like blue skies or something. There it is. Blue skies. So this is a track for when you land on the first planet. It's in between the previous two tracks that we've heard. Means that we got... Which one are you? Which one of you is it? Irish harp. You should be okay. You. You're the ones that need to get fixed. Recent brass. It's a pain. It's a real pain that I have to do this every time. This track is very interesting. It's not like the rest of... It's not like the other two. It's very more organic sounding. That's a lie. It's just a little slower and a bit more nice in terms of chords. But it's nice. It starts off with vocalizations from yours truly. These are vocals that I did just for the fun of it, and I think it fits really nicely. Last time I touched this, I think I was in LA working. So this is... I haven't heard this since. So let's go ahead and let's give it a listen together. It's a lot nicer sounding than the other two, because I wanted to portray this really beautiful looking planet full of nature, and like anyone, like, people have rarely been there. So I figured one way to do that was to be more soft and slow with the melody. Something where it's like you're looking across a beautiful landscape. And that's sort of where the whole idea of the track came alive. We got our back, our harp and our bass synth playing softly in the background. Why is that so loud? Hang on, I don't know why that's so loud, but I gotta fix that. I gotta take a look at that. What is the... Why the hell is it going up so high? Okay. Glad we fixed that, but that was a little annoying. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. It's a really nice track. Originally, or when I called it done, I didn't have this whole section right here. Which is... I was playing around with that a lot in Burbank because I really like the instrument. I was like, oh, wouldn't that be cool to start off with? I just sort of freeformed a vocalization line. I think originally when I made this, I wasn't even planning on using it, because I think it sounds really bad on its own. But then I just gave it a ton of reverb. I combined it with everything else and it sounded decent. Yeah, I don't know. When I came to the ending, though, I'm still sitting on the... I would say I'm still sitting on the edge about it. I gotta figure out if I want to keep that or not. But ultimately, I think it does work pretty nicely. So let's break this down very quickly. Obviously, we have our chords here. And then we also have... And they're really nice chords. Really beautiful. But to be honest, I don't even know what key we're in. And then of course we go into our arpeggiation with the harp, as well as we bring in Waiting for the Horizon. I don't remember why I did that, but it kind of doesn't sound good anymore. I'll have to play around with that and see if I can figure out what exactly my reasoning was. Because sometimes it's made clear, sometimes it's not. I think also we had something else in there. Oh yeah, these. Which are in the other tracks as well. So yeah, obviously it's very sonically in line with everything we've written for the soundtrack. Messages from Deep Space. I'm just gonna call it by its original name, Exploration or Edge of Exploration. I might go back to using that name. It's a better name than This Won't Be a Bumpy Ride or This Won't Be a Smooth Ride, whatever. And then Blue Skies, as we're currently calling this one. They're all temporary names. I haven't decided where they're gonna go or what they're gonna be called. Haven't thought that far ahead. We've only got 3 tracks out of what I want to be somewhere close to like 14. So yeah, 3 out of 14. It's been really low on the list of priorities, and I've been trying my best to try and bump it up, but stuff just keeps getting in the way. So I keep ending up putting this down a notch. So that is what I'm calling Worlds Beyond Our Own 2, also known as the Messages from Deep Space album soundtrack. It is one of my biggest projects yet, and I am just trying to manage the workload. So that brings us to our second project that we've done this year. Now we're moving on to our third, which is a new album but an old idea. It's called Take Your Time. It is a lo-fi album, and I'm super proud of this one because I have some tracks that I want to share. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the first track that I created, which is called Just Another Lo-Fi Song, I believe is what it's called. Where did you go? I'm gonna be honest, chat. I have no idea where it is. We're gonna search by name this time. Just another. Where's the J? Just another lo-fi song. There it is. Just another lo-fi song. Yeah, go ahead and save. So this one, obviously, by name. Can you please rate my creativity? Wait, hang on. Sorry, Can you please rate my creativity? I do music. I write drum and bass. Maybe you know this genre. I would really like you to listen to my tracks. Sorry, I'm writing this though through a translator because I don't speak English well. Sorry, I don't hide it. If you are ready to listen, please answer me with a text. Unfortunately, not today. I would love to do streams like that where I can listen and review people's musics. There might be a time where I do that in the future. So if you would like to give a follow, I'm sure we can start one of those soon if other people are interested in doing it. I would love to do streams where I review people's music. I know a little bit of English, but I understand. That's awesome. That's good. Sorry. I would love to in the future, just not today. All good, homie. Thank you. Thank you so much for respecting that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's take off these time code and samples because for some odd reason Pro Tools seems to think that I'm working with videos when I'm not. Alright, so this one is called Just Another Lo-Fi Song, or as I like to call it, Without You, Lo-Fi Edition. Hello? What? Search library. I have no idea what happened here. Hello? That's weird. Where's the deep matter? Drum kit. Hang on, let's go ahead and let's open up a new instrument very quickly just to see if this will work. I guess I've lost control while the search of the systems. That's weird. That's really weird. Okay. I'd be really surprised if I didn't find it, but I also probably should have specified where to look, since I moved some VSTs around, and I might have accidentally moved something that I wasn't supposed to. So we will see how long it takes to find what it needs. But for now, how's everyone's day doing? How's everyone doing? For those of you that are attending TwitchCon, are you excited for TwitchCon? Because I'm going to be going. I'm going out there Saturday, or not Saturday. I'm going out there Thursday night until Sunday afternoon. Some things I got planned are I want to I don't know. I'm sort of go with the wind. I'm really there to meet friends and to meet new people. I got a few presentations that I want to go to, some uh, classes, some lectures, whatever you want to call them. And I want to, I think, end it all by watching my friend Derivicat live. She's got her performance, I think, Sunday at 4. So I plan on attending that at the Capacabana. Hopefully. I really want next year, my next goal to be next year, I want to play and perform at TwitchCon. I think that's going to be a really hard goal, considering I don't know what the policy is, like how you get in versus how you because I applied, they just said no, unfortunately not. So I don't know if it's a case where I need to be partner or I just need to have like enough like followers to the point where I can like be a worthy investment. I don't know. But if I were to go, the plan would be Fran would be my cameraman, and I would hopefully have someone there. I would probably prefer my mother to be on top of my music, and maybe even play with me. It depends. I gotta ask her about that first, because this is sort of an idea that I tossed in the air way before applying. And I still toss around a little bit. But basically, my mother would be on the keyboard slash on the computer, making sure tracks play, and then maybe giving me a backup instrumental live. Okay, why is it searching through my Unity projects? You don't need to search through my Unity projects folder. There's nothing there. So yeah, next year, hoping to be able to perform at TwitchCon. If not next year, then the year after. I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep applying. I ain't gonna stop. But that does mean that I need music to perform. Since if we look at the little um, playlist that I have created of my vocal music, I only have 13 songs and around 42 minutes worth to play. Maybe make that around 36 minutes, taking out these two. Because these two are just literally copies of this track. Say around 36 minutes of music with just this alone. And then I want to see if I put this here. I did. Okay. So this is, and we'll be talking about this one later, but I just wanted to bring this up now. We also have these tracks here that are in the development stage, but they're not done. So we have another, like, let's say 12 minutes worth of tracks. So it's still not a lot. I would prefer to have maybe an hour and a half worth of music to play with. Considering I think the set's probably like 45 minutes. I want enough to say, okay, like here's all the music, here's what I want to pick and choose for a live performance. We will see. We will indeed see. So once again, we will go over those tracks later today. As soon as this stops searching, oh my goodness gracious, I'm going to go ahead and, oh boy, what kit was it? I forget which kit I was using. Does this kit even exist? Okay, that's a little weird. Okay, this is supposed to be a snap. I don't know if we have a snap on this kit. We're about to find out. Okay. So we do need a snare. I guess we'll stick to that for now, just because I need to get through this, and I will sort this out when I can. So, this is Lo-Fi Without You. I gotta find new sounds for that. It's fine, it's fine. What? Brother, what? Okay, it just randomly... Okay. I like that one. Okay, that's a little silly. Which one was it? This one? I thought you were supposed to select the whole thing. Bruh, I cannot... Oh, that's why, because I'm hitting the wrong key. This one isn't even on there. Okay, let's try that now. And let's save. Where were we? Right here? Whew. Crisis semi-averted. It's really upsetting, man. I had a good drum kit too for this. I pulled this instrument from Sleepless Nights because I absolutely love it, and I love the sound of it when it like put a lot of reverb on it. It's so cool and so like starry. Yeah, unfortunate. Unfortunate, because that was a really good drum kit. Anyway, yeah. So as I said, this is just lo-fi without you. It's not really too interesting, but it's indeed a song that I want to throw on. I have how many songs listed here for Take Your Time? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and are only four of them are new tracks. So I'm a little disappointed in that. And I plan to keep working on it and hopefully make it so that we have more original tracks than we do repeats. Since I don't like repeating my own tracks, but sometimes I just have an idea and I just need to use it. So right now we have Magic of the Forest Nightcore for some odd reason, Magic of the Forest slowed and reverbed, Trails of Information slowed and reverbed, Mirrors, no, what was that? Broken Mirrors. Whoopsie, you are getting banned. How'd you get past? I thought we had a bot that got rid of links. Okay, well, whatever. So where was I? Broken Mirrors slowed reverbed. Sleepless Nights slowed reverbed, and then Without You slow reverbed. Right now we have. This will be our third version of Without You. Yeah, we've got Without You lo-fi, Without You acoustic, and then Without You slowed and reverbed. Which, so I've been listening to a lot of these these things on YouTube, these playlists on YouTube that are like 1 to 2 hours long, maybe 4 hours long or something. And they're just basically playlists of like, I don't know, like you miss her. It's like you're thinking about your life, like you're tired, like you're okay, stuff like that, like dark ambiance, I think is what it's called. But then also it's like slowed reverbed, which I think is technically called daycore. So it's like you have nightcore and then you have daycore. Uh, Whatever that means. I'm more familiar with nightcore than I am with daycore, so I'm just calling them slowed plus reverbed. But I mean, they seem to be working pretty well in terms of like songs. Like here, hang on, let's see. I can open up like take a break. I'm gonna play Trails of Information slowed right now, just to show it off. And it's really interesting. I've never actually tried slowing down a track like this. It's just wow. Especially Trails of Information of all tracks, it's super cool. It sounds very almost like dark and like steampunk-esque. I don't know why. It just sounds cool. Especially when we get to the final riff. Like right, pretty much from this point on. It's like, holy crap, that's cool. Oh, we're in ads. Okay, hang on. Let's go ahead and let's pause this very quickly. Yeah, we'll pause this for the minute. Actually, we can back it up. Doom. Boom. That driving bass as well is so cool when it's slowed down and pitched down. I think this slowed down like 40%. Either 40 or 60, I forget which one. I think it's closer to 40. It's so cool. It's so cool. I really enjoy this. Alright, welcome back everyone. We have not listened to the riff yet. I wanted to save that until we got back from ads. There we go, riff. It sounds so dark, like you can see this is like a cyberpunk-esque like type of game. It's so cool. It was so cool to like hear this like really like gritty and like dark version of Trails of Information. Considering how fast paced and upbeat that song is, I was like, whoa, this is a huge change. Let me quickly pull it up for anyone who needs to do a quick refresher. I won't play the whole thing, but I'll just play the I'll play the end bit. Just here on Spotify. See here how upbeat and cool this sounds. Like a techno, like the retro platformer that it was from. And you hear that super cool riff. And just to hear it slow down like that, it's so different. I can't even describe like how different it sounds. It's just so cool. You can also hear each individual note. It's awesome. Anyway, another one that I want to go over is which one do I want to go over? I think I'll go over Sleepless Nights Slowed, since obviously we have 4 of these tracks. I think 4, or was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? It's 5. 3 are from Broken Mirrors. 2 are from other projects. But this was such an interesting project to do. It reminded me very much of those playlists on YouTube that do like the slow reverb dub songs. Like if I open YouTube, I'll probably find a playlist. Yeah, first one I found was like, how many rows down? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 rows down, I got POV. You just can't seem to stop. Or POV, I just can't seem to stop. It's like one of those like heartbroken. You can't stop thinking about our playlists. They're very interesting. So this is what these songs are sort of based off of generically. It's like the slow reverb nature of those playlists. It's very interesting. When the sun comes up, there I lie, just wondering why I have to fight these sleepless nights. Yeah, let's see if this playlist has what I'm looking for. Nope, I don't care about Old Spice. Hang on, I'm just gonna quickly mute this while I'm waiting for this stuff to pass, but it's like these really sad like playlists. Let me see if this has it. Nope, those are more ads. Okay, great, perfect, because I love just jumping from one ad to another. Yeah, it's like these really slowed songs.
Oh, yeah. You give me a shoulder when I needed it.
Yeah, it's like these really, like, I don't even know how to describe it. First off, I meant to pull the tab and not my entire Google Chrome tab. But, yeah, it's like, just stuff like this. Like, I came across it one day, and I was like, that's interesting. And so I just modified my tracks to sound like it while I was modifying the other, like Magic the Forest and Trails of Information. Very interesting, I gotta say. So, that is, there's one more track that I want to show from, where is it? From this album. And I really like it. This one's probably my favorite lo-fi track out of the entire album. And I'm super excited to share it because this is a brand new track that I wrote, like, while I was working on finals. So, last week, I was swamped. I was absolutely, like, drowning in work because I had finals that were due yesterday. 4 large finals that I've spent probably about 3 solid weeks working on. And I had plans over the weekend. First off, I went to go see Transformers 1 in an early preview viewing. Really good movie. I enjoyed it. Then I had to go out of town because, or I guess not really out of town. We went to a theme park yesterday, and that was really fun. But I was there all day, so I couldn't work on finals. I had to spend the entire week working on it, and so I have been radio silent pretty much everywhere to get those done. And procrastinating finals, I wrote this song last week. It's super fun. I love it. This is called Maroon Can Be Deceiving. And why I call it that is it's going to be lore related to what I'm doing with the vocal music. I won't spoil it yet. I'm not going to spoil any of that yet because it's not ready. But this is a new lo-fi song. Brand new song. Never heard before. Let's hear it. Super exciting. I don't even think I've shared this on social media yet. I think this is probably the first time anyone's hearing this. It's such a feel-good song. I love it. It's such a cool song. I I love it. I don't know what it is about it. It's just really fun. I wrote this in like the span of like maybe half an hour. I think there are two sides of the spectrum that I will be on when it comes to writing songs that quickly. A, it'll be really good and I'll be really proud of myself, or B, it'll sound like dog water and I will want to toss it out or just forget about it. And it's happened with a few songs. Like a few songs have never seen the light of day, and they're sort of out of sight, out of mind, so I can't tell you which ones they are. But they're there. I keep every. So far, I've kept every single project I've worked on, good and bad. And there've definitely been a lot of bad ones. Ugh, memories. Anyway, so why did I do that? So yeah, obviously we start out with some chords here. Pretty standard. It's just piano with a filter on it. Really fun, really soft. Then we got our percussion here. Some very 808s with a filter on them as well. Really fun, really fun. We've got our two basses here, which combined together sounded really good, but we'll listen to one. I've been asked where I got the inspiration for lo-fi, or like what lo-fi I listen to. A lot of it is Odyssey. Specifically, the first one that I listened to was Home, I think was the album. Or maybe that was a song, I forget. Let me look that up very quickly. No, Home is the band. Odyssey is the album. That was like the first like real introduction to lo-fi. Obviously with their song Resonance, which is incredibly popular. Anyway, here's that second bass. Here's them together. The reason why I put them together is so that A, because bass 2 over here sounds really cool on its own, and 2, bass 1 sort of has a very lackluster finish, or start, but a really nice flourishing finish on those notes. So combining them together, they sound really nice. Next we got our pads, which every lo-fi song needs. The chords are also very nice. One thing I learned, I think just while working, was that lo-fi music has a lot of sevenths in it. So I started writing sevenths. I think that's what I'm going to primarily do when I'm writing for this album. Just theory-wise, use sevenths, a lot of sevenths. As well as I found out lo-fi tends to in terms of chord structure, open and then close. So let's take a look at this chord. Very open. Like, it's stacked and then it goes to a closer formation. So it goes like here to here. And then it goes back to open, and I guess it sort of just stays open from there. But it's the movement of open to close to open. Like, everything's moving. Yeah, we got a pad, and we got 2 arpeggiations. First one is this one. Which is a chord version of the one from Sleepless Nights and Lo-Fi Without You. I just have turned it into a... instead of playing one note at a time, it plays the chord at a time. Second chord arpeggiation is... which combined that with the other one. I made them so that they pan on each of the ears, which is really nice because it adds a little bit of variety. And then last but not least, we have our lovely little melody here. Which, if you remember correctly, was the same one we used in Blue Skies from Worlds Beyond Our Own 2. Combine it all together. Got one sick lo-fi track. It's awesome. It's really cool. This is one of my favorite tracks that I've written in terms of lo-fi. I haven't tried lo-fi too much. The only other time I've tried lo-fi was with Take Your Time. The song that was released all the way back in 2021. Was it 2021? I don't know, actually. When was that album released? Let's take a look. No, it's part of the Lost Discs, not Take Your Time. What am I talking about? 2022. May 13th, 2022 was when the first song, Take Your Time, was released. Sounds a bit like this. Just for reference as to what my previous lo-fi track sounded like. Yeah, part of the Lost Discs. Ignore the fact that there's a typo and it says Take You Time. I hate it to this day. It's supposed to take your time. So yeah, that's awesome. Also, album art for that one is made by the lovely, the beautiful I Am Madness 27. Go check her out on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch when she comes back to streaming. It's been a while since she streamed, but it's always great to catch a stream of hers. She's great, a good friend. So yeah, that is all that I think I have to share for Take Your Time. There's 2 songs here that I haven't... Actually, there's a lot of songs here that I haven't showed off, but two original songs that I haven't showed off, and I'm going to save those for the album. The album, I'm not gonna put a release date on it yet, but I do want to. I'll put a window on it before the end of 2024. So we've got 2 albums to look for, maybe 3. 2 definitely are locked in and secured. Well, I guess one's locked in and secured. One is one I'm aiming for to be done, and then one's just sort of floating around with no real date. So take your time. Should be done by the end of the year. Should be released by the end of the year. I'm not going to give a release date because I'm not entirely sure. It depends on how quickly I can get this stuff done. And I want to, once again, we have 10 tracks right now, and about 6 of them are repeats of previous tracks that I have made. I want to make it so that we have more original tracks than we do copies. So, or remixes, as I will deem them, since that's what they technically are. So that's what we're currently working on. Next is Broken Mirrors 2. This one is going, as we discussed at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the stream, this one is going on the Noah C. Arona artist page. Once again, this page is on all streaming platforms. This is where you're going to be able to find all my lyrical music. But this one's really important because this one's where Broken Mirrors and as I'm calling it, Broken Mirrors 2 is going. So let's go ahead and open up the first track, which you all might be familiar with. It is called Finding Yourself. I've lost it. Where is it? Okay, great. I guess I gotta find it again. Haha, I gotta find Finding Yourself. Ain't that original? Where am I? Friend of the Past. Fear in Yourself. There it is. So this is part of the 4th album that we will be talking about today, and the 4th project of the year. Just to remind everyone, Inside My World, Worlds Beyond Our Own 2, Take Your Time, Broken Mirrors 2. All 4 of these albums have been going simultaneously all year, and I've been working incredibly hard on each of these albums. Now, this one is nowhere close to being done. I'm not even going to touch any of this stuff that I've been working on, but we're just going to go ahead and bring up the old vocals, because I got nothing else. What else is still soloed? Hang on. Oh. Yeah, okay. We're not going to be touching any of the stuff that we've been working on recently. We are just here to sort of show off the track and what the state is of it. Because I feel like it's rather important that we discuss like the tracks that are currently in development and the tracks that are currently falling apart. Oh, this track needs work. This track needs so much work. I feel like every time I try and fix it, it just gets worse and worse. So, I have not been spending a whole lot of time on it. Now that I am free from school for a week, I will be spending a little bit more time working on this. Working on Broken Mirrors 2 as a whole. So, this is Finding Yourself. One of my favorite tracks I've recorded so far in terms of like instruments and like pop sounds. Let's play it. Wasting time, feeling lost. First off, why is that so loud? Holy crap. Bring everything down. Everything. Bring everything down. Wasting time, feeling lost. The visions I see of you is the cost. Broken dreams, lost ideals. Someone help me find out what is real. I want to tell you, I'll be right here
even in the darkest times you fear. You say you're finding yourself, but if it's meant to be, darling, why do you have to fly free? I could stay with you, I would support your dreams and give you everything you need.
Okay, that's a little better. It's not blowing off my ears. Whew, I've not looked at this in a while.
Memories played like reels inside an empty hole of thoughts and feels. Lost in fog, cannot see. The road ahead is all unknown to me. I should have told you I'd be right here. There is no need to shed a single tear.
Turn all that off. Jeez, I'm so bad at this.
Yourself, but if it's meant to be, darling, why do you have to fly free? I could stay with you, I would support your dreams and give you everything you need. Oh, oh. The memories of us play in my head. The best of them are better left unsaid. Time passes by without you here. I'm starting to feel you disappear. You say you're finding yourself, but if it's meant to be,
Gotta work on
darling,
mixing.
why do you have to fly free? I could stay with you, I would support your dreams and give you everything you need.
Yeah, it's a hot mess right now. I ain't gonna lie, chat. And I've been a little hesitant to touch it because every time I touch it, something else happens and I start to regret it, and I feel like I just need to stop touching stuff. But I am determined to make this song my best yet. It has potential. People say that it has a really good hook, has a really good melody. Darling, why do you have to fly free? Just that on top of the instrumental. Like, where is it? If it's meant to be, darling, why do you have to fly free? It's like that alone, people say that's a really good hook. You say you're finding yourself, but if it's meant to be. So I'm working on it. I'm also working on trying to maybe get back into taking vocal lessons. And oh, we're in an ad break. Oh, okay. Okay, great. And I want to get back into taking vocal lessons because I've sort of let my voice really go a lot because I just sort of fell out of it. In the time that I stopped wanting to do theater, I stopped wanting to do theater a couple years before I actually stopped. I just sort of gave up on my singing voice. I was like, I'm tired of this. Like, I'm really like running out of steam here. So I stopped. It ended up being that I stopped taking voice lessons. I wasn't too engaged in them, and then I stopped acting, or stage performing, I guess. So I stopped that as well. And now I'm sort of getting back into it, but I'm not necessarily the greatest at it, so I need to refresh myself. I don't know. I'm gonna look into getting voice lessons again because I think I desperately need them. And it'll be nice. Welcome back, chat. So sorry about the ads. They sneak up on me every time. But I was just explaining how the vocals need work, and I, as a singer, need work. So I'm gonna be getting back into voice lessons. But yeah, that's with not without you from Broken Mirrors. That is Finding Yourself. The first song that I started working on lyrically at the beginning of the year. It was this and Messages from Deep Space that were the two songs that start off the year. It's incredible to see how much work has gotten done since these two songs were created, and yet both of them are still not released. So we're working on it, chat. We're still working on it. I've said this before, but I love the bridge. It adds that chord in. This one, that just brings a whole new tone to it. Because this is the original one. I also love my guitar playing. I think I've definitely improved as a player and a performer. And the drums. I'm getting better at learning how to do drums. Even though I can't play them and I don't have a physical drum set, I feel like I'm getting better in terms of doing my drum parts and making sure that they sound realistic and are capable of being played by someone. Because that's always my worst fear, is that me as a singer, I'm doing all this thinking that it's easy to play and that it's easy to perform, and then talking to someone who has experience and they're like, yeah, no, this is not easy. So hopefully the case is this is a little easy to play, because I would love to have this be an opener for a show. This would be an awesome opener. Anyway, that is Finding Yourself. I'm literally just going to close the session without saving, because yeesh. I need to work on this song. I really need to work on it. I feel like once this song's done, all my fears will be conquered. Let's go ahead and let's jump into the next Broken Mirrors 2 song. I'm not sure if it's even here. We're about to find out. I guess it's not here. Great, we'll have to look for it. What's it called? It's called Perfectly Imbalanced. That's what it's called. And OP. Here we are. Perfectly Imbalanced. There it is. This one I have not even bothered touching. It's the instrumental's done, but the vocals are still not. It's just got one vocal on it, one lead vocal. I need to go back and actually record vocals. So here we are. So yeah, this is a song about how awful my work-life balance is, and how sometimes I can be so engaged in work that I forget about the balance that I need to have in order to stay alive, basically. Otherwise, I'm gonna dip into mental sanity. So this is a track based on that. Let's listen to it.
Everything's perfectly imbalanced in my mind and in my soul. Through the loudness and the silence, I am taking on this toll. I keep crossing all the lines, keeping my whole life in place. I keep saying I'm just fine, but maybe that's okay. Losing time stuck in this room of colors and bright lights, giving into inhibitions that I used to try to fight. Keeps me stuck in isolation, always scared of reaching out. All the anxious feelings flooding me, I never know how. losing track of time. Days turn into weeks, the stress is building up. Take a look and see everything's perfectly imbalanced in my mind and in my soul. Through the loudness and the silence, I am taking on the soul. I keep crossing all the lines, keeping my whole life in place. I keep saying I'm just fine, but maybe that's okay. Constantly rescheduling, forgetting to reply, trying to overcome my memory, problems that I hide. I am cutting all the strings attached, don't want to be a slave to the passions that I carefully craft, a slave to all I've made.
Yeah, this is just draft
Thinking
vocals.
about the past, worried about what's to come, bettering myself, but will it come undone? Everything's perfectly imbalanced in my mind and in my soul. Through the loudness and the silence, I am taking on this toll. I keep crossing all the lines, keeping my whole life in place. I keep saying I'm just fine, but maybe that's okay. Crossing all the lines, saying I'm just fine. I'm seeing all the signs. In a world of my design, everything's perfectly imbalanced in my mind and in my soul. Through the loudness and the silence, I am taking on this toll. I keep crossing all the lines, keeping my whole life in place. I keep saying I'm just fine, but maybe that's okay.
Yeah, that's a good little song. I really like it in terms of the message and as terms of the instrumental. I think there's still a lot of work that needs to get done on this song as well, especially because the more I grow, the more I learn, the more I realize that this song is just not cutting it. I have sort of an idea for how I want the stories to go. I'm calling it the Broken Mirror stories. And what I want is every album to sound a little different and a little unique. That being, Broken Mirrors is more like melodic driven, doesn't have as much percussion. This album, very like sort of pop rock almost sounding, um, with a few outliers that I have planned. But I think for the most part, I have like sort of a sound that I want for the album, and I have a sound that I want for the next album. Currently, I have 4 albums in the Broken Mirror story. We have Broken Mirrors, we have this one, and then we have 2 more after. And I'm not going to go into too much because the foundation isn't solid yet. I have ideas and I have stories that I want to tell, and I want to make sure that they're as great as they can be. And on top of that, I want to make sure the music is as great as it can be. So I just need to keep my head in a book, in videos, in tutorials, and just keep learning. And that's what I love doing the most out of anything. I love learning, especially when it comes to music. Just learning how to do this stuff, basically, because I'm pretty much self-taught when it comes to vocal production. I tried to get a class in at my college because I go to college for music, and they said, no, you're working on music composition for film, TV, and video games. You're not under the vocal production major. And I literally just sighed and I said, all right, fine then. So I'm working with what I got. My guide is currently the internet. Anyway, we're going to show off 2 tracks that I've barely touched, but ones that are pretty important to the story of Broken Mirrors. So, okay, great. You're just not going to open. Good to know. I'm not sure this is the first time I've played this, but it's definitely one of if it's not the first, then it's definitely the second. Nah, don't save changes. I got to figure out that song later. So this one is a newer track. This one is about, I think this is better with the story. So, every time someone has to leave town via flying, I'm always the person to get them to and from the airport. Every time someone has to leave town, I'm always called in and be like, hey, can you drive me to the airport? Someone's flying in, they'll be like, hey, can you pick me up from the airport? So I wrote a song about it, about my frustration, about how I'm always the one that's taking people to the airport, but I'm never the person that leaves. I'm always the person that stays behind. So, this is a song I wrote called Airports.
Feel like I'm stuck in the same place, nowhere for me.
These are raw vocals, by the way. I have not edited these yet.
No thrill, no escape, chained to the roots I know, always crossing over lines I can't follow you through, looking in from the outside. Deep down I always knew I'd watch you fly away. Flights come in and flights go out, yet I can never leave the ground. People leave and the pain grows. I hate the airport now, I know.
This is still a relatively early phase track, even though it's been a couple months.
Driving to the parking lot, no thought within my brain. Walking to the very front, I'm in a blurry haze. Now's the time to say goodbye, until we meet again. Thoughts of flying far from here fill up my mind, but then I drive back home alone. Flights come in and flights go out, yet I can never leave the ground. People leave and the pain grows. I hate the airport now, I know. I hate the airport now, I know. I hate the airport now, I know. Flights come in and flights go out. I wish that I could leave the ground. One day I can say it so, but I hate the airport now, I know.
Yeah, it's a rather sad song. Yeah. No, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Just wrote a song about how much I hate being at the airport. I don't know. Don't think I can really travel via plane without even being the one traveling via plane. It's still very, very hard to think about. And I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but just overall, like, imagine being someone being someone that everyone relies on to give them a ride to a place that's really exciting. Like, let's say your friends ask you to drive you up to Disneyland, but you yourself cannot go into Disneyland. It's like they always ask you to, like, take them there and then pick them up, and then it's just like, what if I want to go? It's like, yeah, what if I want to go? And so I wrote a song about how much I hate the feeling of being there. It's not necessarily that I hate the place. Like, I don't hate Disneyland, but I hate the feeling of arriving at Disneyland knowing I cannot go through those gates. That's just an analogy. Um, Obviously, just to get the idea of like how I feel about the airport. But yeah, it's definitely a more emotional song, and I think that is a better transition than ever to go to the song, the single that we released this year, and the next track in the Broken Mirrors 2 album called Writing to Write. This is I don't even know where it is. Oh, I remember. It's called like Sad Song. The Sad Song, yeah. So, let's give some context to this one. I was. There's no easy way to put this, so I'm just going to rip it off like a band aid. I was drunk one night. I was really, like, shit faced drunk. And I was sad. I was real sad. So I wrote a song. Opened up a project file called The Sad Song. And there was one, like, phrase that was going through my head at the time. I don't know where I heard it or if I came up with it on my own, but I was thinking about the fact that I mean, towards the beginning of the year, I wrote a bunch of music that the world will never hear because I don't want them to, and the music is not good. And so I thought, writing to write isn't really writing. Like, writing to write isn't. Is basically just. It's basically just like throwing stuff into the wind. But when you write to. How do I put this? Okay, back up a second. Writing to write doesn't mean anything because you're just simply doing it for the sake of doing it. But when you write to say, like you want to write because you have something to say, it makes the work a lot more meaningful. And so, in the span of a night, in the span of like maybe, I don't even know. I was blackout drunk when I wrote this. I wrote a song, made a cover art, sent it to publishers, and closed my computer. So I had no recollection of it. But I woke up one morning and it said, "Congratulations, your release is out." And I looked at it and I was like, "What? I released something?" Needless to say, that release now has 3,000 listens and it's quickly become a very popular song. So I thought, okay, can't take it down now. But yeah, so this song is very, very emotional. It is raw emotion, no editing. Sorry, no editing, no vocal production. I just sat there with my guitar and I played, and it's so interesting to think about how I came up with this idea. And the only way I'm able to remember this is because I journaled it that night as well. Like I went every time like something happens, I open up a journal app on my phone. I just document the day. I'm like, okay, here's what happened. Here's how I feel. So, imagine my surprise when I woke up to a journal entry that was called Writing to Write. And the first thing I said was, writing to write isn't writing at all, but writing to say is 1,000 times more meaningful. I was like, huh, that's interesting. So I opened up my recent project folder, and I see this. And this is what I heard.
Long restless nights, working on songs, lost all my fights. What has gone wrong? Mistakes all around, trying to fix while moving on. Ignorance is bliss. Want to turn back all of the clocks. Maybe then I can be strong. What's going on? I don't understand. Chasing all my problems with the whiskey in my hand. Writing to write isn't writing at all. Writing to say is 1,000 times more meaningful. Want to turn back all of the clocks. Maybe then I can be strong.
So yeah, it's a very interesting story on how this song came to be, and it's it's very depressing. I ain't gonna lie. So I don't even. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know the lyrics. I don't know the chords. I don't. I don't know how I did it. I genuinely don't know how I did it. If I like, okay, I know it's probably Capo 1, G chord, E chord. I know that much. Chorus is like what? The bridge is like what? Let me listen to it again.
What's going on? I don't
That's an E.
understand.
That's a G6.
Chasing all my problems.
Maybe it's a G7 into a G6. I forget. It's it is such an interesting story. And I think it's very profound at the fact that I had a lot to say while I was absolutely yeah, there's still no good way to say it. Blackout drunk. And I sort of use the song as an example now for myself of what I can accomplish when I really like have something to say, that I can do it while I am not even fully mentally there. But I also use as an example of this was probably one of my lowest points. I have 2 low points in my life, and this one is extremely close to the first. This second one was extremely close to the first. But it's such an interesting story, because I think I'm not afraid to say it, but I had a really rough time after my girlfriend and I broke up, and this was one of the side effects of it. I think ultimately what happened was I started having really bad anxiety and like really severe depression. And for the first couple of months, I just sort of sat and wallowed in it. And then somewhere around February, I kicked myself in the ass and I said, I am not going to sit like this. I'm not going to let myself just wallow in this anymore. Like, I want to be better. And I did. I became better. I used music as sort of an escape for so long. Whenever I didn't want to face my problems, I'd always open up Pro Tools and just start writing. So where a lot of my music that has never seen the light of day ends up being created is because I write to write. I write to avoid my problems, not because I have something to say. And it's always so interesting because I think this year more than ever, I found out that I can get a lot done just by just by basically doing what I love to do as or using it as it should be used, not using it as a distraction, but using it as a channeling method. It's so interesting, and I'm genuinely so happy to be talking about this now because I'm at a point in my life where I have grown and I have mentally matured enough to realize what my strengths are, what my weaknesses are, and how I have been using a lot of what I do incorrectly. I am so happy that I no longer am in a state like this to be writing music. First off, I don't drink a whole lot anymore. Um, I've really put the kibosh on that one. But I've, more importantly, I've gotten to a point where I'm healthy enough, both physically and mentally, to know when I'm in a bad place and when I'm about to be in a bad place. And those are usually the times where I will step away and I'll be like, okay, I need space. I need time alone. It's great. I gotta say, it is so refreshing to not be here anymore. Because the person singing this song has gone through so much pain. And the person that's talking to you now has healed from that pain. So, I want to keep the song as a reminder to sort of, as a reminder to all the pain that I've experienced, and to remind myself that it's like how this is my semicolon tattoo. I know the symbolism of a semicolon tattoo is to sort of be like, but I survived. And I think this is probably the closest that it's gonna be for me, because I I went through mental hell for about maybe a total of 3 to 4 months, but I survived. It was really low. It was real dark down there, but I came back up. And I want this album to sort of reflect that. And the reason I chose the genres and the songs that, or and the styles that I have, is because let's say Broken Mirrors is part of like a sort of like somber, melancholic, like reflection album. This is more of like a emotionally fueled fire. This whole album, Broken Mirrors 2. It's so interesting. And I think, okay, so as we're about to start in 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and finish up this conversation, and then we'll jump over to the final track that I have for this album. And let me quickly check. Is this the final track in total? This is the final track for of everything that I've worked on that I'm ready to share. Actually, this one's the least done, but it is the one that I want to share the most, because it kind of also relates to what we're talking about right now. The point is, Broken Mirrors 2 is more energetic because I'm fueling it with more anger, more passion, more intense emotions than like the sadness, than the depression of like Broken Mirrors 1. So there's a story to be told here in all these albums. I have, once again, we have 4 albums in total. Broken Mirrors 1, which is more about sadness and depression, and the foundation for the other 3 albums. Album 4 will be it. Album 4 will be the, at least right now, will be the finale. And I'm so excited to unveil the story, because the more I go through life, the more I realize I have stories to tell and experiences to share. And it's so intriguing, because I want to share these stories with people in an attempt to make them not feel alone. And I hope that one day, even if my music isn't popular, even if it doesn't hit the radios, someone will be able to find it, and someone will be able to listen and be content. Someone will be able to hear my stories and know that their experience is not one where they have to walk it alone or in the dark. Anyway, yeah, that's my rant on where this album is going and where this story is going. Let's go to the last one. I'm not sure where this one is sitting, but we will find it. Gonna be honest, I don't even remember where I put it. What was that? Oh, touchscreen music V3. It's building roller coasters. There it is. Save changes? Nah, don't save changes. Yeah, I'm aware it was saved in a older or in a newer version. That don't mean we have to keep it there. I think, what was I doing here? I see. Okay. So I was working on this track. I just don't remember when. But now I want to go ahead and turn these off. So I want to bring these out. This one can actually be muted. All right, how long is this track? This track is 3:30. I'm gonna go ahead and wait until the ads start. Can I start an ad like right now? Yeah, there we go. I think I take this 30-second ad. Okay. So we have ads running right now, which is perfectly fine. Once we're done with that, we will go ahead and jump into this. Seven, 6, 5, 4. All right. Welcome back, chat. Let's go ahead and let's finish it off with the last track of the day. This one is one that is incredibly personal to me. This is a letter to my younger self. And I thought that was all that it was. Just a letter to my younger self. But turns out this song is based on childhood trauma. The more you know. We'll dive into that after the song. So I think let's just go ahead and start off with just listening to it. This is the draft, the concept of the song, since I don't have the actual song built yet.
Innocence is bliss, but is it right? Because of my struggles, you'll have to fight.
What? Do we really just get ads? I'm sorry, everyone. I am incredibly sorry about that. I did not. It says ad break in progress. I will go ahead and make sure that it ends before we jump back into this. Is it over? Looks like it's over. Okay. So sorry about that. Let's go ahead and jump back into this for the second time.
Innocence is bliss, but is it right? Because of my struggles, you'll have to fight. I wish I could say it was easy, but that's not true. There's still is a lot to do. Focused on my toys, the one that brings me the most joys. Building roller coasters, soaring to heights never seen before. Building roller coasters, playing pretend so that we don't have to fight this war. Structures of plastic, no thoughts in mind. That childlike wonder I left behind. Where has it gone? Why did I leave it? Growing up then, I will have to admit I loved building roller coasters, all my ideas coming to life. Building roller coasters, the world moving on while I was stuck in that time. I find myself walking the line of not being okay and being fine. I wish I could tell myself that all the world around you will toss and then turn. The road ahead will leave you burned. Your mind is so concerned. There's so much more that you yearn. To get there, learn to build roller coasters, keeping your passion and never forget to build roller coasters, a safe space for you when you think you can't make it through.
Such a nice song. I think more than anything, this is a song for myself. Obviously, like people always say write for yourself and like not to write for an audience. Otherwise your music just sounds soulless and flat. And I try and do both. I try and make a song that I personally I like and enjoy, as well as make it so that like people can listen to it and have a good time. This song, I think in particular, has a lot of loops in it in terms of like the lyrics and especially the bridge. Bridge is by far the weirdest bridge I've ever written. But I love the message of it. The message is just basically I think for context, for those of you who are new, there's this little train, this little roller coaster building set called Connects. That's what the company was called. You can build roller coasters out of them, and you can do whatever you want. It was pretty much like it's like Legos, but for roller coasters. And I loved it. It was my favorite toy growing up, especially because the more sets I got, the more bigger coasters I could build. And so it got to a point where I was building coasters like every day. I was working on something downstairs. I'd always make a mess because that's just who I was. I'd build and I'd make a mess everywhere. And eventually one day, like, I was told to clean it up. And when I wanted to make a coaster, I was told I couldn't because I'd make a mess. And I guess like we had something big happening at the house. So I just stopped playing with them because I figured people get mad at me whenever I do. I make a mess everywhere. And this is sort of like a love letter looking back to myself, looking back at my younger self and being like, hey, like just focus on what you love to do. The world around you might be crashing and it might be burning and you might be going through some really tough stuff, but at least you have this. At least you know deep down that you have a safe space for you. As a place where you can pretend and a place where you can call your own, because it's important to have those. those safe spaces where you know that it's just you. And I think the song will be hard to resonate with others because of how specific it is. But for me in particular, this song is perfect. And that's all I care about. If other people relate to it, that's amazing. There's definitely a hidden meaning behind it. It's not just about building coasters. As the end of the choruses go, playing pretend so that we don't have to fight this war. What's the other one? Coming to life. The world moving on while I was stuck in that time. The final one, a safe space for you when you think you can't make it through. It's very deep. It's very complex in terms of the underlying theme. And just sort of telling the story that I am through the fact that I am playing with a plastic roller coaster set. So yeah. Well, that's going to wrap up today's stream. It's been a lot. We've done a lot of projects. And I cannot say when some of these will come out because I don't know. Especially when it comes to Broken Mirrors 2 and Worlds Beyond Our Own 2. Those, who knows? Those are the big two that I'm currently working on. A really big soundtrack and a really complex story that I'm telling. The other two, it's just two. No, wait, yes, no, yes, no. Yeah, Inside My World's already done. Take Your Time and Broken Mirrors Acoustic are the other two. Those I want to be done by the end of the year. Because I haven't pushed myself hard enough on those, and they kind of need to get. They're smaller projects, so I want to push them out of the way and just work on them first. We also have the Sound of Games Volume 3, which might look a little thin this year because I haven't been working on any game. Well, I have been working on one game. I have been working on one game this year. And I've been a little too afraid to take on more work because of A, school, B, the fact that I'm running 6 soundtracks at once here. But I don't know. There's a lot happening behind the scenes, and I feel like I need to do a better job at showing the stuff. So we'll do more of that. For now, I think I'm going to send you guys over to Office Drummer. Office Drummer is someone I found recently through just scrolling through musicians. He's a really good drummer, I can tell you that. So, tell you what. You guys go send him my love. And the Time Traveler YT love. And we'll have a good time vibing over there. I'm going to go run and eat, but I will be back to just sort of chill in his stream. So yes, thank you everyone so much for tuning into today's stream, but unfortunately, I got to. So I will catch you all tomorrow. That's right, tomorrow with a new stream. We're going to be streaming today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday right before I leave for TwitchCon. So, thank you all so much, and I will be back next week with stories from TwitchCon, as well as some more stuff on the way. So thank you all so much. I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye. Let me quickly hit the raid now button. Bye-bye.